Around age 4, little boys and girls start kind of correlating careers with genders.
You're seeing people that are successful that are mainly white men. That's sending a signal that says, I don't really belong.
I think that if there was a really influential female role model in computer sciences, I would be more interested.
There could definitely be a lot more role models out there. We just haven't heard about them.
Well, congratulations on being an 18-year-old with a startup.
Globally. No one has done this before, including Google.
If you're not hell-bent on fixing a problem for irrational reasons, you're probably going to give up.
Un peu fatigant parce qu'on enchaîne les rendez-vous heure après heure.
Some friends text me about, oh my gosh, I'm having this boy issue, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having this investor issue.
My name is Brienne Gafourifar. I became the youngest college graduate to raise $1 million in funding.
Je suis Agathe Molinard, donc CEO de lemoncurve.com.
I talk to my friends and I'm like, I have a friend who's an entrepreneur, and they think it's cool.
People came to Silicon Valley to pursue a $1 million dream. We already make $1 million.
What does it mean to change the world?
I want to do something for a living.
Yeah, I have a life. I have careers.
I think for young girls in particular, the opportunity is phenomenal. Being an entrepreneur is one of the most exciting things in the world. The opportunity to take your vision and make it a reality.
Hola. You're not good enough. You're not experienced enough. You're not qualified enough. That's the little voice that I hear in my head that I'm sure you've all heard before, right? Sometimes this voice is so powerful that I feel like I can't even do anything. I have suffered from this lack of confidence for a long time, thinking, I know I want to contribute to the world, but why would my ideas matter? I moved from France to San Francisco when I was 22. At the time, all I knew was that I wanted to work in tech and journalism, but I didn't know anyone. I moved to Silicon Valley. I had graduated from a top school in France, but I was a nobody in Silicon Valley. I never once thought I could create a company. It seemed like way too hard. Who here has ever heard this voice telling you you're not good enough? Raise your hand if you've ever heard this voice. Right. Yeah. So the consequences of this confidence gap are very serious. Young women especially hold themselves back by a lack of confidence in themselves. If you've read Lean In by Facebook CEO Sheryl Sandberg, you know that women don't apply to jobs when they think they fit only 50% of the criteria, but men do. Similarly, young women don't pursue fields that are labeled as hard, such as math and science. For yourself, it could mean not raising your hand, not asking for that promotion you deserve, not pursuing your dream job, right? Yet, when I arrived in San Francisco, I was surrounded by people who took risks to pursue their dreams. And the Silicon Valley mentality started to make an impression on me. I became bolder and bolder. I picked up a camera and I started interviewing entrepreneurs all by myself, basically following my passion of telling other people's stories. Except this time, I was not asking for permission, which felt great, by the way. But the thing is, it's not always easy. And at the time, I knew I wanted to contribute, but I didn't know how exactly. And something else happened that changed everything for me. I went to a lot of conferences, tech conferences, where most of the speakers were men. And one day, I attended this conference on women entrepreneurship by an organization called Women 2.0. On the stage, I saw amazing women entrepreneurs, and their power was so communicative. I felt so energized and inspired, and I thought, how come I've never heard of these women before? Where have they been hiding all this time? And how come their stories are not all over the news and media? That's not right. The truth is, you can't be what you can't see. And that's why we need more role models. So I decided to start contributing in my own way. At the time, I wanted to do a series of video interviews with women entrepreneurs for a magazine I was writing for, just as a journalist, and I was already really scared of doing that. This little voice in my head saying, "Who do you think you are, thinking you can make a difference?" Yeah. But one day, I was interviewing a friend of mine, Hermione Way, a journalist and entrepreneur, and I told her about my idea. She said, "Oh, Nora, that's great. But, I mean, why not make it an actual documentary film? You love movies. Just, if you're going to work so hard on this project, don't think small. Think big. You can do it." And that was really a turning point for me. She showed me another documentary made by two women called Startup Kids, and I realized that I could contribute in a much bigger way. I could actually make a real film. Who here has ever done something you were really scared of doing, but you did it anyway? Raise your hand if you've ever done that. Yeah, come on, I'm sure someone has. Yay! Congratulations. That's really hard. But that powerful feeling of going against your fear, it's worth it, right? So what happened after I got this piece of advice that somewhat changed my life? I partnered up with another journalist in Silicon Valley, in CSIAD, and we both started working on this documentary on women technology entrepreneurs called She Started It. And you saw the trailer earlier. You want to know what we learned after 2 years of filming successful women? They all believe in themselves enough to silence this little voice, this moment of doubt of why me. That confidence helps them power through the hard times. But the thing is, confidence does not come overnight. No one's born with it. It's taught and learned. So take Thuy Truong, for example. Thuy is one of the main characters in our film. You saw her in the trailer. She was, no one has done this before, including Google. And we filmed her for the past 2 years. She arrived from Vietnam to America when she was 17, and at the time, she had to support herself and her mom financially. But she decided not to give up on her studies. She went on to study computer science. And when her first startup failed, she didn't give up. She went on to build a second startup because she believed she had something more to offer. And by telling the stories of women like Thuy on the big screen, we believe that we can create change in a compelling way because media is such a powerful tool, especially among teenagers. I want women and girls who are going to watch this film to feel like I felt when I was at this conference and I saw all those women entrepreneurs on stage. I want to share that feeling of empowerment. I want to multiply it and share it globally. That's the power of media. I want women and girls who are going to watch this to think, if she can do it, I can do it too, like I did. Why does it matter, you might wonder? Well, according to the Kauffman Foundation, women create only 3% of all technology startups. Young women especially often give up on math and science after they get a bad grade in school. But boys don't care, they keep going. High school girls have very low self-confidence even when they perform well in school. That's the crazy thing. And by the time women enter college, their perception of their abilities in mathematics is practically uncorrelated with their actual abilities. What does this mean? It means we have a job, you and I, everyone, to teach girls the self-esteem and the self-confidence they're gonna need to get out there and pursue big ideas to change the world. Think about it for a second. Imagine what could we achieve as a society if we taught our girls from a young age that they too could become the next Bill Gates or the next Mark Zuckerberg. Again, why does this matter? Well, it also makes, believe it or not, economic and business sense. Women-led companies perform better than those run only by men. Companies with women board of directors perform better than companies who have no women on their board of directors. In Europe alone, a more gender-balanced labor market could increase GDP dramatically, according to the OECD. And on top of all that, women tend to create businesses with a higher social impact. So the question is, what are we waiting for? What can you do to change this? If you're a parent or a teacher, push your girls to take more risks. Yes, it's worth it. Tell them not to give up when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Encourage them after a failure or a bad grade. If you're in a position to mentor another woman, do so. It could change your life like it did mine. Help each other out. If you yourself are hearing this little voice that I'm hearing constantly, this "you're not good enough," give yourself some challenges to overcome each day, such as raising your hand at work, or asking to take the lead on a project. Finally, asking that promotion. Yes, you know you deserve it, right? So give yourself some challenges each day to overcome. 2 years ago, when I started this documentary on women tech entrepreneurs, I never imagined that I would be standing here and that anyone would be interested in hearing my story, frankly. So I'm really grateful, and this is to show that you are good enough. So say it with me. I am good enough. Come on. I am good enough. Thank you.